Man, I really resent choosing this for Star Wars month. So initially, when I heard the concept of the Acolyte taking place 100 years after the Phantom Menace, it kind of made me excited. I'm just like, okay, we're gonna get to go far away, hear the origins of the Jedi, how they were created, and that would be cool. But they never really go that route. Instead, Jedi's are already established here, and there's a fugitive wanted who is essentially this criminal with Jedi powers, and she is still learning her ways of the Force. And while they look for her, they unfortunately arrest the wrong person because apparently this person is a twin. So there's two people of them, both with Jedi powers. One's evil, one's not evil, and that it sounded like a solid concept, but there was no explanation as to why one's evil over the other, and it just becomes of this shenanigans of trying to find this person. I'm not even gonna bother who to even research the name. I felt myself bored. Amandla Stenberg, who has potential of being a great actress. I think your best shot, girl, is to just leave Star Wars. That's what a lot of the people in the franchise have been doing. Whenever it's not working out, they just leave and move on. As far as star power, they got in a lot of infamous TV actors in here. We have Manny uh, Jacinto, who is Quimir. I know him from The Good Place mainly, and obviously Lee Jung, who plays Soul, is infamous for Squid Games. And it was like it felt very forced to have these guys in. Even Daphne King, who plays X-23, but in this show she plays Jackie Long. It just felt like they were just shoehorning in people just to get some popularity in there, and it just felt very um bland in the process. It just felt like it was just like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing. And credit to Leslie Headland to even take on this product, but the budget was super expensive, and I feel like deep down they all regret it. And I don't blame him because there's just so much directionless stuff, even with the amount of TV stars that you have in here. You cannot make a good show if you don't at least have a good story. And to top it off, they had the audacity to shoehorn in Yoda and Darth Plagueis at the very end. And I thought to myself, why weren't they the centerpiece of this? Imagine if they made a Plagueis TV series taking place like the early stages of the Jedi and the Empire origins. That would have made more sense and more appealing. And you still could have added these actors and maybe had them look cooler. Instead, you just dropped the ball. And I'm not saying that we have to rely on nostalgia all the time, because here, you could have had some potential of maybe doing the origins of the Jedi or something like that. But it's just so stupid, and it just the acting was bad. This is like, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna just rip the band-aid. This show gets an F. And it had potential. It had all the potential in the world, but it just didn't. I could not care less about this show, and I'm glad that it got canceled the way it did, because to shoehorn in people that should have probably been the main focus from the beginning is just like so stupid. They should have just started with that. But no, you know what? They deserve it. I know that the actors are disappointed that this went nowhere. Well, they should be disappointed how awful the show was. But we're going to move on to something that I did not expect to be as good as it was. And that is, of course, the video game Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Hands down, the biggest surprise of this entire series for me, and I cannot wait to talk about it tomorrow. Take care, everybody.